Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Delaney, I've been listening to your answers about your conduct in the St. Paul's case, and I have to tell you I'm having a hard time following what it is you're saying. You've said now several times that the school only wanted the court case to be tried in a court of law, not in the media. But your attempt to strip anonymity from Chessie was exactly an attempt to try this case in the media, right? It was an attempt to bring her name forward so everybody would know who she was. She's 16. Everybody would know exactly who she was, could look her up, could threaten her, intimidate her. I mean, this was an attempt to put her squarely into the media spotlight nationally, right?
Senator, thank you for the question. I respectfully disagree that the school's intent in trying to require the lawyers to try the case in the court of law was in any way intended to intimidate any of the parties to the case.
How can you say that when you knew full well that a 16-year-old girl would have her name published, would have reporters, no doubt, in her front lawn, would have people following her around with cameras everywhere? Her family's sitting here today. They've already been through hell. Your motion was an attempt to put them through further hell in order to defend your client, right?
Senator, I was an advocate for the school.
I understand that, but as advocates, I have been too. And as advocates, we make decisions, but we're responsible for those decisions. You made a decision here. You made a decision to try to strip a young girl of her anonymity, and you effectively succeeded because you bullied her into it. So she, unwilling to be intimidated by you, went forward and revealed her own name, which took, by the way, tremendous courage. And I'd just like to honor her for her courage in doing that. But you put her to that choice. You did. That was your choice. So that's fine. You made the choice, but now you're accountable for it. So let's have some accountability here. You deliberately did this in a way that would put her at risk, and that was your intent. Have you read the letter that she submitted to this committee?
I have read the letter that was submitted to this committee.
Let me read some of it to you. She says, and I quote, "I remember so clearly reading Michael Delaney's motion from front to back when I came home from my new high school one day, processing what it meant, and then defiantly stating to my parents that after everything I'd been dragged through, from anonymous death and rape threats on the internet to the betrayal of and backlash from my closest friends at school, I wasn't going to let Michael Delaney's dirty tactics bully me, then 16 years old, into shame."
What happens when a Senate hearing stops being polite and starts getting brutally honest? In today's video, a judicial nominee faces one of the most intense confrontations seen in a confirmation hearing, as a senator accuses him of deliberately putting a teenage sexual assault survivor in danger. The exchange is raw, emotional, and politically explosive, and it could decide the fate of this nomination.
In silence. She goes on, and this is important. When survivors of sexual assault, harassment, and abuse come forward to seek some semblance of justice, there is an army of attorneys with a tried and true playbook of tactics to discredit, pressure, and manipulate survivors and victims into silence. Those are the tactics that you use, Mr. Delaney.
Senator, I respectfully disagree with that characterization of the role I played as an advocate in the case. The school agreed to allow the case to proceed with anonymity. I have...
No, you didn't. You filed a motion that specifically to strip her anonymity. I have it right here. I've read it, and I've read your reasons for doing so. The school didn't like the time that the parents and Chessie filed their lawsuit. You complain that counsel filed the complaints minute before the clerk of the court's office closed on June 1st, 2016. Well, I'm sorry for you, but I don't understand why your inconvenience about the time should mean that this young woman should have to surrender her anonymity and have her life. She's a survivor of sexual assault, let's not forget. That already happened. You knew that. Why should she have to have her life further destroyed because you didn't like the timing of the filing?
Senator, I represented the school in that case. I did not represent the Prout family. I understood what they went through. The school felt that the request to restrict the lawyers from trying the case in the media was compatible with her desire to proceed with privacy and anonymity.
I don't understand what you're saying. You filed a motion that sought to strip her anonymity. You told the court that it should happen because you didn't like the time at which her counsel filed their complaint because it put your school at an inconvenience. They had to answer reporter questions, you said. Frankly, that seems to me like a small burden to bear after what Chessie went through. So you made the decision. You forced her to come forward. She was brave and did it, and now you're accountable for that. And quite frankly, I'm astounded you've been nominated. I can't believe we're sitting here having this conversation today. And I, for one, will not support your nomination for these reasons. People who put sexual assault victims through this kind of torture shouldn't sit on the bench. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Cornyn.
For a more profound political discourse, please like, comment, and subscribe for more further insights.